the vid, and happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is having or have a great Tuesday. And before I get going, I want to give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I thank God for salvation. I thank God for His grace and His mercy, and for all of that He has done in my life. Definitely has made a difference in my life. So I just want to acknowledge God on today. I want to get right into it. As you can see in the title, did Colorado Buffaloes blow the game against BYU? Did they miss opportunity there? And I think the elephant is in the room that they did miss an opportunity to get a very big win for these guys. By BYU being ranked in the top 25, and also by Colorado starting out the way that they did. It looked like it was a good chance for Colorado to come away with the dub, and unfortunately that did not happen. Now, to be very totally transparent, I only saw a little bit of the game. When I tuned in, they just made their second score, so it was actually 14-0 in the first quarter. I think first quarter, I believe it was still the first quarter actually. And I think when it's all said and done, the first half, I believe it ended up being 14-3. I think BYU eventually scored a field goal. So the first half went, pretty well for the Buffs. The second half, especially from what I understand, especially the fourth quarter, things just did not go well for the Buffs. And I'm not gonna be on here long, but I just want to share a couple of thoughts. First of all, I saw the press conference, post-game presser. Excuse me. Excuse me. I tuned in, or I saw I like seeing the post-game interviews and hear what the coach has to say, or even the players that choose to interview. And one thing I will say about Coach Prime is that he was brutally honest. Not just talking about the team need to get better, the team this, the team that, but also included himself and the coaching staff. Now, I heard that some people, were saying that he seems to be pointing the finger to the team. Well, he did. He pointed the finger to himself too, and to the whole coaching staff. Matter of fact, everybody was talked about. That needs to get. Everybody was included in him saying things needs to get better. So it wasn't just him pointing out the team. It was about everybody. And I thought that honestly, I haven't heard him do that much. And I think it's gotten to a point where, they're so close, but not good enough. I honestly believe they should have beat Georgia Tech. And here is Georgia, and Georgia Tech is top 15, top 16 in the nation. They should have beat Georgia Tech. And I really fully believe that had they beat Georgia Tech, we'd be probably talking a little different. Because I believe that they would have beat Houston too. Because it would have given them the confidence that, hey, they can be. Now, of course, Georgia Tech wasn't top 16 then, but as you can see now, they actually almost beat a really good, a quality football team, a quality team. But it didn't happen. They came up short. They came up a little short. Houston probably was more convincing loss than the BYU in a Georgia Tech game. Those games were winnable, and they should have beat Houston as well. But the Georgia Tech and the BYU game were winnable. They were definitely winnable games. And so it sucks, you start out good, with the I'm referring to the BYU game. You started out good, started out the way that you want to, and you still come up short. So what's the problem? Well, I think the problem is that they're not consistent enough with when they do good things on the defensive end and the offensive end. They're not consistent enough. They're just not. And that's the reason why BYU was able to get back in that game. Had CU, when they got 14, there was many times where they were moving the ball for a little bit, but they just couldn't finish the drives, or at least get to where they could kick a field goal and get something out of the drive. But what happens is, if you have too many empty drives, that gives their offense an opportunity to get some drives, put together some drives, and get into the end zone and get back into the game. And then before you know it, they're leading. They took over the lead because there's game pressure. And CU had too many empty drives. And that's the thing, when you're playing a good team, you have to minimize their offense from getting on the field, but you have to take advantage when your offense is on the field. You got to take advantage of these drives, and you got to, get into the end zone preferably, or at least get some points out of it. And as I noticed, BYU was starting to take over the possession of the game. They were starting to maximize more time, and therefore giving them more opportunities to score, more than CU. But every time I looked around, CU was on the defensive end, and BYU was on the offensive end. And when that happens, you can't sustain. Even if you're winning a game, you can't sustain it. Not against a quality team, because they're gonna find a way to eventually end up scoring, or some way, somehow. You just can't hang it on, a couple of scores. You're gonna have to keep scoring and minimize their opportunities to score. And unfortunately, though, they just were not able to maintain. They weren't able to continue to get some separation. And that's what you want. You want separation, and that was what, as I was looking at it on my phone and all that, that's what I was worried about. So next thing you know, it was 14-3, then it was 14-10. And then before you know it, they took over the lead, and then they scored again, and CU got behind the 8 ball And once you get behind the 8 ball, and it's getting in the latter parts of the game, now it's not only that you're behind, but you're also dealing with the time, you know. And so then all of a sudden they're running the ball well and they're chewing up time. And you look up and it's the fourth quarter and you're still down by a touchdown or two. And, you know, if we can't get that straightened out, then it'll be one of those things again where you lose by a touchdown or you lose by a field goal or, you know, something like that, you know, where it was just, you started out good, but it wasn't good enough. And that's what I think CU is going through right now. It's like it's not quite as good, but it's not good. It's not good enough. You know, they coming up. These games are winnable games. They are winnable games. It's not like they just been getting their butts kicked. You know. Now the Houston game, that was more of a they just got beat. You know, you just gotta give credit to where credit is due. But the Georgia Tech game and the BYU game, they were winnable games. Winnable games. Winnable games. And my thing is this. If they would have beat Georgia Tech, lost to Houston, beat Wyoming, which they did, and beat BYU, we wouldn't be talking like we're talking. And the reason why I say BYU and Georgia Tech is because those were winnable games. You know, they were right there. But because they have lost those games, now, you know, is the reality is, hey, you know, where we go from here. And so I just think that it needs to be a lot of soul searching, going back to the drawing board and keep on working. You know, I mean, can't feel sorry for yourself, you know, and still be ready to go for the week. You know, you gotta get ready. And it's not getting any easier. So, but anyway, let me see who's on here. Let me see, Moon and Fuji. How you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good, Moon and Fuji. Appreciate you chiming in. I appreciate your likes, if you don't mind. Likes and comments. I'm talking about the Colorado college football game against BYU. But I think CU is just on the verge of just breaking out and stringing some wins, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them, man, because they don't have any easy games are not coming up. They do have a bye soon, but man, I really wish they would have got that win against BYU, man. They was looking good in the beginning and all this, and I just think they let it get away. They let it get away. Against a good team, man, you gotta be steady. You gotta keep, you know, you gotta be able to get stops, and then you gotta be able to keep scoring. And CU just wasn't able to do that in the right times. Penalties that hurt, mistakes that hurt. You made too many against a good team, that's gonna come back to get you. And I just think that's what happened, along with other things. So I hear that Caden Salter did his thing for the most part, and you know, but you can't win with one person. You know, it's a team effort. That's the reason why they call it a football team. You got defense, you got offense. If they play complementary football on both ends, then they would have won that game. It didn't quite happen like that. So they got to get ready for the next weekend. So But anyway, just wanted to come on for a little bit. I appreciate everyone chiming in. Please hit the like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Have a blessed one. Appreciate you coming on. Blessings, everybody.